compared to how a person that has thicker hair. This is several strands of my hair, but see how fine the hairs are? What does it mean to have fine hair? So fine hair means the actual strands of your hair are smaller in diameter. Another word for fine, you sometimes might hear thin, but that's not really what thin hair means. When you hear the word fine, it's actually talking about the size of the actual strand of your hair. Compared to how a person that has thicker hair, this is several strands of my hair, but see how fine the hairs are? And so that's what it means to have fine hair. Low density hair is about the amount of hair in a square in a certain location. So for example, if you took 1 square inch of my hair and you counted how many strands are within there, do I have a larger or a smaller amount of strands of hair inside of that location? So with my hair being fine, it means that it's a smaller diameter of actually each hair strand. And then low density means there's even less of those strands per capita, right? What it means when it comes to microlocs is that instead of my hair being nice and thick and full, it's gonna have a tendency for it to look not as full as somebody who might have thicker, high density hair where they have a lot of strands, which means it gets poofier and there's a lot more volume to the hair. The reality of it is that our hair, honestly, at the beginning especially, is just not gonna look like that. And so to me, being prepared and knowing that you have fine hair, knowing that you have hair that's a lower density, gives you a more realistic view and a more realistic experience when you go forward to get your hair done. So I've been locked for 6 months now. My installation was on March 22nd. I will make a full video about my experience these last 6 months, but I just want to kind of give an overview about what my experience has been having fine, low density hair with locks. Number one is that at the beginning, well, you will be more scalpy than most people are when they first get their locks done. So if you think about it, like since your hair is a little bit lower density, or it might be really, really low density, you already could see scalp between your natural strands, like if your hair was dry and you parted it. So in my locks, it very much looked kind of plucky, which is something that you'll see with people who have thinner or finer low density hair. So my experience the first month or so was very, very like, you know, my family was like, what did you do? And they looked so, you could see so much of your scalp. It kind of looked like I had like implants. Like if somebody took a tiny micro braid and like implanted it into my scalp. And of course you could see the grid pattern a lot better. At the very beginning, because of that, I feel like that's part of the reason why I had so much more itching, is because so much of my scalp was exposed. And if you haven't already watched the video I have about how I handle itching, I'll link that video in the description below as well, so that you can see how I dealt with all of the itching and stuff. So item number one, that very first month, it just felt very flat. The diameter of my ponytail was not very thick when I put my hair up. And so I tended to not really wear my hair down the first month because it kind of felt like straight and limp. Those interlocks were so small. I have 512, so they were so small. And then on top of them being so small, my hair was already fine. It took about 3 months for my hair to start frizzing a little bit to where I felt like it looked fuller in body. So if you haven't had locks before, just so you know, like the more that you wash your hair, the more volume that it gets. So, you know, I was told to wash my hair every 2 weeks. And so I noticed that with every wash, it got a little bit fuller. The locks kind of were expanding because they were getting a little bit frizzier. So the first thing that you'll notice whenever you're starting to see some volume is that if you get frizz. And I love the frizz. I embrace the frizz because I was like, oh, it makes my hair look like, you know, it's thicker and it's fuller. By month 3, I had gotten 2 reties by that point, and so the base of my locks started getting a little bit thicker from her going back through the strands, and then it started looking fuller from base and down. And then also every time I washed, my ends got curly. So as you can see, my ends are curly. They actually end up curlier than this whenever I go get my hair retightened. And now up until month 5, this has happened. So I'm gonna get a little bit closer to the camera so that you guys can see. I'll put my hand behind there, but you can see how this part, probably up to like right here where my finger is, it looks a lot thicker where it's interlocked back through from all my reties that have been done. And then right when you hit this point, as you can see there, that's still very thin and fine, because I feel like it makes my hair look fuller, but then my ends look really thin. So I try to do manipulating styles to where my ends like either embrace my curly ends or do some type of roller or something like that to make the lock look a lot more uniform. But I'm noticing that my locks have a definitely thick part, then they have a part where it gets thinner. Because my hair the strands are thinner, they don't really hold on to styles as well. So if you watch my video where I tried out those cheap hard rollers, I'll put that in the description below. I put all my videos in the description below. I did the roller set on my hair, and then by the end of the day, it had fallen down. So the fine strands don't really hold the weight weight of like a curl or anything as easily, so the hair tends to look a little bit frizzy. And then when you do styles, unless you put a lot of hold on there, it doesn't want to stay, and so your curls and stuff might fall down. So the last thing that I have noticed is that a lot of the perimeter of my hair, especially at the back, has ended up slipping. So at the base, where it already has a lot of tendency and is prone to slipping, they tend to unravel, where I keep losing the locks at the base of my hair to slippage. Another couple things that I've noticed in the last few months is I've gotten a few of these. Got the thick part, and then the part where it gets to the thinner part, and then at the end of it, there's like this little bulb on there. And then this is the only lock that I have that has locks so far. So this one right here, it used to be really, really short. Like I said, she had to fold it up over itself because it was like abnormally long. But now this one right here has actually locked, and it'll go up and stay in a ponytail. I don't have to like keep it inside anymore. But that's like, I guess my experience with my hair being fine and low density, and like the PSA that I would like to send out to anybody who's considering getting Microlocs, anybody who's considering getting, you know, sister locks whose hair is fine. Another thing, and this is the last thing that I'll say, is that the reason why I didn't end up getting sister locks is because when I went to my consultation, I was told that because my hair is fine and because my hair is low density, sister lock tool and the way that the sister lock method is done, they have a measurement, and that in order for the lock to actually be sustainable in an inner lock, they were gonna have to make it bigger than what the sister lock standard was. And I don't really know for sure if it was because of the fine low density by itself, because I've seen other people who have fine low density locks, or if it was the fine low density plus soft hair. But it actually took a very long time for my interlocking to get done, and it was confirmed that yes, in order to form the locks, because my hair was so low density, that it was gonna need to take too much hair for it to fit the measurements for sister lock, which is the reason why I ended up getting my hair interlocked instead. But that's another thing that I would say beware of when you go in and when you're preparing your questions for your consultation, to make sure that you really are clear and ask them about, you know, hey, my hair is fine and my hair is low density. I'm concerned about the size of the locks and if it's actually going to be within the sister lock standard, or if I'm going to have locks that are actually bigger, but I'm just, you know, calling them sister locks. A lot of these videos that I make them because they're questions that I had that I wish that when I looked on YouTube, when I was doing my research, that somebody had been showing. But I really like to be real and answer the questions that I wish somebody had been there to answer whenever I had questions. Until next time, guys, locks and love. Bye, mamas.